Hi guys, welcome back to The Pressing Matters. Welcome to 2022. I'm Scott, and today I'm going to be doing a topic to start off the year. Something that's been on my mind a little bit, and I think you'll find it interesting, so stay with me. I don't have a prepared script for this, so pardon me if I ramble a little bit in my thoughts, but I'll try to keep it concise. Before we get to that, if you're new, please consider subscribing to The Pressing Matters, and you'll be sure to get all the new content that comes up. Just hit subscribe and notification, and you'll be on the list to get notified whenever a new video drops. So, what I was thinking about just last night, back when I started listening to music and buying records as a teenager, things were different. And I was thinking about this a lot. You know, there was no internet, so you couldn't really preview records except to hear the tracks on the radio. If you were lucky, you'd hear some album tracks in addition to singles. And maybe at a friend's house that had the album. Or in my case, I worked at a record store, so I had access to more records and played stuff on the system there. But in general, you didn't have, experimenting with unknown things was like, a little risky proposition. You might get stuck with something you didn't like. And as a teenager, you don't have a lot of money. So I found that I was buying things that I knew I'd like from bands I knew. And if it was something that was kind of a little bit out of my realm, I was able to listen to it somewhere before I purchased it. And that combined with having, more limited cash as a teenager and not buying as many records as I do today, I would buy one or two a month, maybe, so not a lot for the year. And I found that I would listen intently to the record over and over and know every note of it. I mean, when I go back to these records that I listened to as a teenager, I know them back to front. I know everything about them, and spending a lot of time with them, you're able to do that. So I was thinking about how my listening habits are today and how they've changed, and trying to figure out a way to capture that depth of listening again. Part of the reason that this is an issue today for me is something called FOMO, fear of missing out. And it's a really significant factor if you're a collector. Today I'm an audiophile, I'm a music lover, and I'm a collector, but my collector mentality is sort of taking over, and something I need to try to keep in check, because fear of missing out is driving a lot of my purchases. And with good reason, because we have great series right now coming out. We have the One Step series. We have some UHQRs coming out from Analog Productions. Those are limited. You have to get them immediately. And so I do. And my point was, in the last video I did about Music Direct, that I had to start being selective. I can't collect them all, nor do I want to. But at first I thought I need to collect them all, and I kind of drew the line in the sand when they announced the whole Eagles catalog, the whole Van Halen catalog. I decided to get just the first two of each band, and that was okay, So I'm starting to move out of my rigid pattern of having to get everything. And then there's the Blue Note Classic series and the Blue Note Tone Poet series and the Acoustic Sound series. These are three series that are superb, all analog series, mastered by the best people in the world. generally pressed very well, especially in Tone Poet and acoustic sounds. You know, Blue Note Classic has had their problems. But because I fear of missing out, I have been automatically buying every release that comes out. And yes, I'm exploring jazz for the first time through these series. And yeah, I can sample them a little bit, but I have them on automatic buy pretty much. And I find today, like I was thinking about my one steps. Now there's a little bit of a difference with the one steps because they're in boxes, they're 45s, they're kind of stored away from the rest of the collection because of space concerns. And I find that I haven't been pulling them out really to play them much since the first week or so that they arrived. And wow, I spent so much money on a record and I'm not really delving deep into it, and it's disturbing me a little bit. With the jazz titles from the Blue Note and so forth, I'm finding that I am a jazz fan. I am finding things I like, but I've bought a lot of things that I wouldn't have bought when I was a teenager because they just didn't do it for me, so why spend money on it? But I'm spending the money on it, and it's because of fear of missing out. I don't want to wait another year for a repressing of Blue Note Tone Poet. It's like I've been waiting. I got into Tone Poets a little bit late, the second year, and there's stuff from the first year that I would have liked to get, and I would have thought would have been out by now, like the Chet Baker Sings, for instance. That one is supposedly really popular. There's a high demand for it, but it still hasn't shown up. And now we're into the third year of Tone Poets. And, so my mentality is just buy it and hopefully you like it and get used to it. But, I noticed lately, like the two new Blue Note Classic releases that are up, Caramba and what is it? Inner Urge? No. Something like that. I forget what it is. That I sampled them last night and I'm like, these really don't do it for me. And my mentality has been, Scott, you're exploring jazz. You're not going to like everything on the first listen. It's a little more complex music. Buy it and you'll get used to it down the road. So there's that. And then there's the other factor of the channel. I started this channel as an audiophile that wanted to share my excitement for vinyl and reissues and audiophile topics with an audience and share it with people. And because I review records on the channel, I feel compelled to buy all the new releases. And that's another thing. So there's a lot of factors going into this. The other thing is I work full time. I have some nights and my days off, I'm usually making videos. So unless I'm reviewing the record for the channel, I don't spend a lot of time with some of these records, and it's kind of a space concern. I mean, I have stuff in closets. I have stuff in my listening area. I have stuff in the garage. I have my box sets in another place. And space is kind of getting to be a concern as well. So I am starting to cull my collection. And it's difficult as a collector to cull a collection. It's very difficult. You want to hang on to everything. What if I want to listen to this down the road? And a lot of the stuff in the garage is stuff that I picked up during the big record drop, I guess you could call it, when CDs came out and people started selling all the records. They were available everywhere in thrift stores and yard sales and estate sales, and anywhere you could get a record for $1, and I picked up a lot of my living stereo collection, a lot of everything. And I kept the best stuff. I keep it inside. And I have a bunch of stuff in the garage that, am I ever going to pull it out? Maybe. if I have a chance to go through them, and I really have to go through them to call out what I want. But there's a lot of stuff that can go back to the thrift store. There's a lot of stuff that can be sold to the local record store, whatever. But, I need to pare down and be more concise about my listening, my buying and listening habits. And that's kind of what I was thinking about. And I kind of wanted to convey it to you. A couple of other things that have been on my mind are in regards to the channel. I would like to branch out a little bit with the channel. Thinking of creating a separate segment of the channel. I don't think I have to start a new one just for this, but I would like to do equipment reviews as well as my other part of the channel, the record reviews and audiophile topics. This is something I've had in my mind for a while. I would really like to do it. And I think I can start because I will be upgrading things in my system. Right now I will have to buy the equipment I review. So it's kind of a perfect opportunity to, I will be getting new speakers probably, possibly a new turntable, definitely a new cartridge. So I can take these items and do a review of the item and compare it to previous, what's there previously. And that'll be a good way to start. Hopefully it'll grow into something a little bit more than that. The other thing is, and this is kind of a dream. I have a dream. It's a room there is a room in the house that is currently not available, but it is like a small studio apartment, and it is the perfect dimensions for a listening room. I'm telling you, it's like the dimensions of Symphony Hall, Boston Symphony Hall on a small scale. Same dimensions. So I would be very excited to get in there and create a dedicated listening space. I've had dedicated listening spaces in the past, and I absolutely love them. My passion completely takes off when I have that, and right now I don't. And when I get into a space like that in the past, I can completely create the environment to perfect it for listening to music critically. And that means acoustic treatments. It means being able to bring out the speakers as far as I want, to measure everything within a quarter of an inch, so everything's perfectly symmetrical. Locating the equipment in the right area, minimizing distractions. It's great. It's great. It just makes my passion for the hobby even greater, and I need to do that. I want to do that. It will cost some money to do the renovation, but this is something that I think would really help grow the channel, help my passion for the audio side of it, and something I really want to do. So stay tuned for that. I don't know exactly when it will happen, but it will happen. So there's a lot to consider today. If you want to comment, there's fear of missing out, spending too much money, buying stuff you're not really sure you're into, your listening habits, your time. I'm sure there's people with children and families that don't have any time to listen to music and have to squeeze it in late night or for a few minutes on the weekend. That's difficult. And having your own audio room, stuff like that. So that's it for my introduction to 2022. Thank you for watching. I hope you made it this far, and we'll see you next time. I'm Scott for The Pressing Matters. Have a great day.